This all started in 2001 when lead was first noticed in the water in the Washington, D.C. area. By 2002, it caught its first media attention when the Washington City paper published an article saying one water sample had 18 times the safe water levels for lead and copper. By 2003, more than two-thirds of homes had more than the allotted 15 parts per billion of lead in their water. In 2004, it became front-page news, and by 2005, over 200 articles had been published about this public health hazard.
The population most severely exposed to lead in the water are children, especially those below the poverty level. Children are more at risk for lead poisoning because their bodies are still developing. A small dose of lead may not affect an adult, but that same dose could cause problems for a child. Children exposed to lead may have permanent brain damage. Mark Edwards, a civil engineer, discovered lead levels 83 times higher than the safe limit while conducting research in 2003. The D.C. Water and Sewer Authority, WASA, was required to investigate. They tested 6,000 homes. Over 4,000 of the homes had excessive lead levels. WASA and the EPA were supposed to warn homeowners that lead could be in their water and that it was hazardous. They failed to provide adequate warning. The mayor of D.C., Anthony Williams, was not informed of the elevated lead levels. The issue finally came to light in 2004 when the Washington Post wrote an article about it.
Symptoms of lead poisoning include, but are not limited to, abdominal pain, cramping, irritability, headaches, and vomiting. These symptoms may be mild to severe. Lead levels can be checked through blood sampling at a doctor's office or hospital. Persistent and worsening symptoms should be followed up with a doctor immediately. The adverse health effects of lead exposure for children include developmental delay, behavior disorders at low lead levels, seizures, and in rare cases, death at very high levels. Children may be constantly exposed to low doses of lead, but when those levels exceed 20 micrograms per deciliter, medical treatment is deemed necessary. In adults, they're at risk for hypertension, kidney problems, and increased all-cause mortality if there's continued untreated exposures. Adults do not face as great of a severity if exposed as children do, but if symptoms worsen, they should seek medical attention. Contaminated water levels were first recognized in Washington, D.C.'s public water system and also in Flint, Michigan. The elevated lead levels took place all over the District of Columbia as well as Flint, Michigan, in both rural and urban areas. Residents of Flint filed complaints while the city used the Flint River as its water source, and lead levels then spiked.
In 2001, an annually conducted test showed that homes in the Washington, D.C. area were experiencing lead levels in their tap water that exceeded the nationally accepted amount of 15 parts per billion. Investigations by plumbing expert Professor Mark Edwards concluded that a change in the water treatment procedure from chlorine to chloramine was the cause of the increased lead levels. In 2002, the Washington Water and Sewer Authority collected samples from 53 homes, of which 26 exceeded the accepted level. However, the problem was not addressed by any authority until 2004, when the Washington Post printed an article about the issue on the front page of the paper. This brought the issue to the attention of the public, which caused city residents to demand a solution. Several meetings were held starting in February 2004, but it was not until June the 27th that an amendment was passed to help the citizens at risk. For the fiscal year of 2005, the Lead Service Line Priority Replacement Assistance Emergency Act of 2004 was passed. This was a fund to help eligible homeowners with up to $2,500 to replace lead pipelines in their home. Any other expenses will be the individual's responsibility. Despite the minimal efforts by the Washington Water and Sewer Authority and the Washington, D.C. government, this issue is still ongoing, with homeowners still paying out-of-pocket expenses to resolve the problem. Overall, the effort in notifying the public and the government of this issue was very poor and has created a widespread public health issue that could have been more appropriately handled.
The issue of safe drinking water is still a problem today. The Washington Water and Sewer Authority dismissed the issue of their water when it was first recognized and made little effort to find a solution to the problem. Homeowners are continuing to pay out of pocket for the Washington Water and Sewer Authority. Many residents in Washington, D.C. still feel as though the situation were handled unprofessionally. The Lead Service Line Property Replacement Assistance Emergency Act of 2004 was passed in 2005 and allowed homeowners a $2,500 credit to replace lead-contaminated pipelines in their homes. Any other expenses were the individual's responsibility. Washington Water and Sewage Authority did give away more than 30,000 water filters to its customers in hopes of improvement. They also provided free blood testing to any citizen who wished to obtain the information. Lawsuits against the Washington Water and Sewer Authority are still being pursued today.